What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today we're checking out MSI's new lineup of Prestige Evo laptops in both the 13-inch and the 16-inch, featuring Intel's i7 13th generation processors. So I've checked out quite a few Evo laptops over the years, ones from HP as well as MSI, Asus, and it's been a very interesting lineup that holds a standard of performance as well as great build quality, battery life, and it all comes together for a great productivity machine. Some of the tasks that I might do on a computer include like Photoshop and Lightroom, some video editing in DaVinci Resolve for color grading, but of course also going on Notion, Google Chrome, and just web browsing, emails, and general productivity at what I would consider a prosumer level. By no means is it like a dedicated work machine for me, but I do find having a light computer with a great display, but most importantly, great battery life and efficiency are the key elements to a productivity machine, and the Evo computers are able to achieve that. So I want to give a huge thanks to MSI for sponsoring this video, and in front of me I have the Prestige 13 Evo as well as a Prestige 16, and just off the bat, the form factor of the 13-inch Evo is really nice. I've had all different types of computers over the years, including an 11-inch, a 12-inch, 13-inch, and 14-inch, and I find that I've often opted for the smaller model in the lineup, especially with the amount of power they're able to get in a nice form factor nowadays. This 13-inch form factor is just perfect. It's got a 16:10 aspect ratio display, which allows you to maximize the screen real estate. And when it comes to the display itself, it's got very small bezels along the side, which makes it really nice to be able to just maximize that space, but have a computer that fits in your bag or backpack very nicely. And that is very important when it comes to travel. The screen to body ratio is 90%, and it's built out of a magnesium alloy construction that has a very good level of durability, but it also remains quite light, and that is literally the first thing that I notice. And the 16.9 millimeter thickness comes in at a weight of just 2.18 pounds or 990 grams. Honestly, this white color right here is one that I really like because it just doesn't show fingerprints. And so it's really refreshing to have a computer that has like this beautiful white magnesium aluminum alloy construction. The gold logo on the back still remains relatively minimal in terms of its branding, and it also has an anti-glare matte finish display, which again doesn't show fingerprints and all these marks as easily as a typical computer does. The trackpad is right in the middle. It is really nice in size, easy to navigate. The keyboard is also very comfortable to type on. And other than that, you take a look at the overall hinge construction. It's got this nice gold touch along the back with the MSI logo. The fans are angled outwards, and the shape and form factor of the computer is just very nicely edged and lined, that it takes a lot of inspiration, I guess, from the gaming type of design that MSI is also very well known for, but it tapers out to this very nice thin front here that also angles towards the front. And I would say that from a portability standpoint, this is a size that people are really going to enjoy. You have your webcam and everything up here, and you also have a physical kill switch for the webcam itself, which is a popular security feature that we're seeing a lot more often now, and that is key when it comes to hardware security beyond software security. It does also feature Windows Hello, which is for the facial recognition, but when it comes to the display itself, the 16:10 aspect ratio is really the first thing that I notice and how it maximizes the screen real estate, but the actual specs are also great. It features a 13.3-inch 1920 by 1200 Full HD Plus IPS level panel with a 100% sRGB coverage. I do find it to be relatively bright, and the colors are very vibrant and quite accurate, and with the anti-glare display, it has that perfect amount of brightness paired with the IPS technology to give you pretty good viewing angles. And I've just found like matte displays are not as common nowadays as they used to be, but this display in particular looks a lot better than I remember from a matte display in previous years. On the audio side of things, you're also gonna have two 2-watt speakers on the bottom with DTS audio processing ready, which is nice that it is a dual speaker setup. It may not be the loudest out there, but enough for personal multimedia enjoyment. In terms of the ports that you're gonna find on the Prestige 13 Evo, you have a full-size HDMI as well as two Thunderbolt 4 ports on this side, which gives you that maximum speed and bandwidth. And you also have the power adapter option over here. And on the other side, you have the lock, a USB-A port, and a micro SD. I would say that this is pretty typical for a 13 to 14-inch computer, and oftentimes on like a 14-inch computer, I do like to see at least 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports. So one small complaint that I do have is that I do wish it has one more additional port. Having the full-size HDMI though is great, and also having a full-size headphone jack down here is pretty accessible. So when it comes to performance, the way that this model that I have right here is spec'd out is relatively high performance. It is a 13th generation i7 processor, and you can spec it up to the 1360p processor and on the Intel Evo platform. It features Intel Iris Xe graphics, up to 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM, and up to 2 terabytes of SSD storage. So by having the i7 processor with 13th gen and the integrated graphics, you can expect to be able to actually do some basic levels of video editing and even a little bit of 4K. I found that DaVinci Resolve was able to work, and I just found that the screen, despite its size being a little bit smaller from like a 14 to a 13 inch, just gives you the best of both worlds when it comes to portability and power. From a productivity and business standpoint, if you're creating like presentations and visual decks, have a lot of different tabs open, and need a computer that is able to be a workhorse throughout the day and last throughout the day when it comes to the battery life, this so far has been really good for that. And when it comes to some of the other technologies, you also have Wi-Fi 6E as well as Bluetooth 5.3 for faster speeds and seamless connection. Speaking on the battery life, you can expect up to 16 hours of maximum battery life when it comes to the playback, but realistically on a day-to-day basis, I would say 8 to 9 hours is a sweet spot. But just like general productivity and business productivity standpoint, getting through an entire day is not a problem, and the Evo platform is able to promise that. It also includes in the box a 65-watt charger, and it's available in the pure white and stellar gray. So this is like the 13-inch model, and personally, it is definitely one that surprised me when it came to just its portability. But as I dug into the specs and was able to check it out from like a business and productivity standpoint, it really is a computer that is nice to be able to bring around with you everywhere. And I mean, this is just one that for students as well could be a really solid option if you're looking for great performance and you're able to spec it out accordingly. Now taking a look at the MSI Prestige 16 Studio laptop. There's a few similarities and some differences compared to the 13-inch model. The Studio is an option that includes a mini LED, and unlike the Prestige 13 Evo, it is only available in urban silver, which I think looks really sharp with the MSI logo and everything here, and I feel like silver has really come back in the past few years. From a portability standpoint though, funny enough, it is actually still very similar in terms of the thickness to the 13-inch model. It comes in at just 16.85 millimeters, and this one definitely comes in quite a bit heavier at about 1.9 kilograms, but from a spec standpoint, it is really a performer, both in terms of the display aspect, the cooling, and also some improved options when it comes to the i7 processor configuration, which is the 13th gen. So on the display front, it also has the golden ratio of a 16:10 aspect ratio, which I mentioned is my favorite size. It allows you to have a lot of space to work with from a real estate standpoint, and if you're editing photos or videos in a 1920 by 1080 16:9 aspect ratio, having some additional space for other windows and tabs is awesome. It is a 2560 by 1600 Quad HD Plus 165 Hz refresh rate display with an IPS level panel and a 100% DCI P3 color gamut. This one is a glossy screen, which obviously looks incredible, and with the higher resolution and screen real estate that you're able to have, this is really one where if you're looking to have a performance computer and be able to bring this everywhere and be able to have like your image in a much larger field of view, this is definitely the one that you want to go ahead and check out. On the port side of things, it does still have the full-size HDMI, 2 USB Type-C and Thunderbolt 4 ports, and on the other side, you have 2 USB Type-A ports and a micro SD card slot. You don't have a dedicated power, but I do find that this, for the most part, does cover the basis, but I would like to have seen one additional Thunderbolt 4 port, especially if you're going to be using one for charging. One of the other big features of this also comes in the cooling technology, as it features Dynamic Cooler Boost. It is an exclusive patented cooling design that maximizes the heat dissipation for the CPU while maintaining less than 35 decibels of background noise. This, in conjunction with the 13th gen Intel i7, which you could spec up to the 1700H processor option, is really, really nice. It also features the Intel Iris Xe graphics, and you can spec up to 32 gigabytes of the LPDDR5 RAM with up to 2 terabytes of SSD. The battery life on the 16-inch model is about 13 hours of playback, which should get you between 6 to 7 hours of daily usage, which is pretty solid for a computer of this size. And with the high resolution display and everything, and the higher end processor, that is also something to consider. The 16-inch model also comes with a 100-watt charger inside, which is able to charge this laptop pretty quickly. Having the military-grade construction with pretty good portability, a pretty solid display as well, essentially gives you a computer here that has the latest and greatest Intel i7 13th gen processor option, and is what I would say is the most spec'd out laptop that you can have in the Evo lineup without having to have dedicated graphics, which adds a lot more weight and thickness to what is supposed to be a portable setup. So this is like a really good option if you're looking for that larger display to be able to have like presentations and stuff, and maybe don't mind the weight. But as I mentioned, personally, I really like that 13-inch form factor specifically, especially in a world where 14-inch is becoming a lot more common. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out these laptops for yourself, I'm going to drop a link down below. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. And I've got to say, if you're looking for a great productivity machine for school or for work, then the 13-inch is one that I would definitely recommend. But I also love like the overall form factor and hardware of the 16-inch model in the urban silver color. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.